Hey, welcome to my channel. Today I'm talking about expectation and what expectation is, what it isn't when you're looking at it with the law of attraction, law of assumption, whatever you want to call this, and why I never work with expectation. And if you were coming to me as a coaching client, I would work the same way with you because I don't deal in expectation. I find that expectation can be a little bit negative when it comes to this. And what is expectation anyway? Really, what is expectation? How do you, you would have expected things in the past to happen in life and then they wouldn't have happened, something different would have happened, and you think, oh, I didn't expect that. How the hell did that happen? I didn't expect that. So that's expectation. And also there's forced expectation with this, with the law of attraction. If you want to manifest, you have to believe that you have it. You have to believe it and you have to expect it. So you have to think, okay, I expect it now. When's it going to be here? Not in a sort of a lack way, but in a I expect it. And maybe that works for some. I'm sure it does work for some, but it doesn't work for me, and it never did work for me because I have found that you can't force that kind of thing. I find that the feeling of it is done is completely different than expectation. It is a feeling of an intuitive feeling, something in your gut, I suppose that's the best way to describe it, that says, yeah, I feel it. But there's no rationale for it. At the moment, there's no reason why that would really happen. So your rational brain, your analytical brain questions it and says, but this and but that, but that's natural. The thing with this is when you've had that intuitive feeling, like I've said before, I feel like it's a snapshot into your future, basically. It's a little glimpse into the future, and it just goes like that, doesn't it, when you get that feeling? You don't really walk around with it all day. You can just feel it every so often, and it's intuitive. I still believe that reality isn't set, because you can change your mind about things and then just go down a different path. But if you're going down the path you're on at the moment, and you still desire that thing, that person, whatever it is, still desire it, at some point it's going to happen because you've had that feeling. Even if you don't have an overwhelming desire for something, and you feel like, well, I'm not really attached to it now, don't mind if it comes, don't mind if it doesn't. So you might think, oh, well, maybe it won't come now. The thing is, if you haven't said you don't want it, then it is still going to come at some point. With that intuitive knowing feeling, it will. That is not a feeling of expectation. That is a feeling of it is done. I've got this feeling, I don't know where it's come from, it's weird. I said before, I had it with Jeremy before we were even together and I was living with somebody else. I thought it was weird. I thought, what the hell is that? It doesn't make any sense. Why would that happen? But I just sort of didn't really engage with those thoughts anymore and just kind of forgot about it, really. But now I know what I know. I know that there's no time frame with that. You get that feeling, it's very powerful, and it feels like it's going to happen immediately. And when it doesn't, you question it and you think the feeling wasn't real. But that really isn't the case. Like I said, it's a glimpse into the future, but it could be 2 months into the future, it could be 4 months into the future, it could be 6 months, a year. You don't know. There's no correlation with that feeling and time, I have found. And actually, I have to be honest, that the majority of the times I've had that feeling, it's been a while for that thing to appear in my life. And I can kick in that feeling with things. If I want to be reassured about something, say I'm concerned about something, and I want reassurance, I will try and find the feeling of it is done, it's going to be all right, that intuitive, it's going to be all right feeling. And sometimes if I'm really concerned about something, I don't get it, it won't come, so I think, okay, it doesn't mean it's not going to be all right, it just means that I can't get that feeling at the moment because I'm not in the right place, and I'll go back to it maybe the same day, maybe the next day. As soon as I get that, I don't go near it again because I've had that feeling, and it really gives me a sense of calm once I've had that feeling. But it doesn't mean that I won't still have a bit of concern there, because like I've said, we're human beings and the human brain is constantly working, constantly nagging at us and trying to find solutions for us itself. But I just tend to be able to block that out a little bit more now, or just kind of ignore it and not focus on it. But I do use that, and that's intuition, and that I suggest that you practice with your intuition, using it like that. It will take a while for you to think, was that intuition, or was that, you will know the difference eventually, you'll get good at it, and I would consider myself to be good at this now. But even when I do that and I have the feeling that it is done, that intuitive feeling that everything will be okay, my rational brain will still nag at me a little bit. So I'm not at the stage where I just go, oh yeah, everything's cool, and I feel completely relaxed. I feel a sense of calm for sure, I feel better, and I feel like that's probably going to be fine now. But again, it's a hope rather than an expectation, because hope is what works for me. Way back in an old video, I talked about it as my 95% chance rule, and I don't think much about that now, but it's kind of the same thing really. I used to say to myself, there's a 95% chance that this is going to happen now, because that felt like better. It just felt better. I felt less expectation. I felt like, well, 95% is really good odds, isn't it? If I was backing a horse at 95% chance it was going to win, well, I would back a horse if there was 95% chance it was going to win. But I still allowed myself that 5% that it might not. And that may seem completely counterintuitive to lots of you. And you might think, well, what the hell? That doesn't make sense of this rule. But again, to me, the rule of, law of assumption, law of attraction, it's all the same thing, isn't it? And it just varies different nuances to the same thing. That's one thing, but how you get there to the feeling, that's another thing, and that's where there aren't any rules. So you have to do what works for you, and I found that really worked for me. Gave me really, really good odds, but allowed me that bit like, might not, because I needed that human bit to go with it. I really try to work with this in the most human way possible. I don't try to be this spiritual being, I don't try to make this work a certain way because I feel that there's a certain way that I should do this. And I do get criticism for that sometimes. So why are you saying hope? It doesn't make sense because it doesn't go with this. But nothing I do goes with this. Nothing I do or say particularly goes with what other people are saying. But I'm just trying to offer you another way. I'm trying to offer you the way that works for me, or that does work for me on a constant basis, on a daily basis. And do you know what the best bit of advice I can give to you is? Don't be constantly trying to manifest. I think I went through a stage of that, sure, at the beginning, but I don't do that anymore. Try to live your life knowing what you know, putting practices into place, putting things into place that you wouldn't have necessarily done before, so whether that's affirmations or scripting, whatever, but do it as an exercise, just something you do to make your feeling state better, to allow life to flow better for you. If you do it with that in mind and not expectation of something in particular happening. I have had a comment before, way back when I did a video about words. I think it was about Florence Scovel-Shinn's take on words. I think it's quite an old video, and then somebody commented and said, oh, spoiler alert, it doesn't work. You don't do it for that. That's the key with this. Don't do something in order to manifest something. In my opinion, if you are uptight and you have a lot of anxiety about something or a lot of attachment to something, if you keep forcing out phrase after phrase after phrase in that state in order to manifest it, no, it doesn't work. You not have to, but it's better if you affirm and you use your self-talk when you're feeling good or you're feeling okay, so feeling neutral. If you're in that state, then all kinds of amazing things will happen, but you're not looking for the result. So again, it's don't look for the result, just do it, knowing that if you make these statements to yourself, they have a vibration. If you keep them pure and don't mix them up with resistance, which is why it's better to do it when you're not resistant in any way, then eventually over time they are going to make such an impression on your subconscious that something's got to give. Really, it has. But again, if you do it in a forced way and a where's the outcome, and looking for the results all of the time and then saying, well, that hasn't changed or this hasn't changed, then it won't. It will be a struggle and you'll see bits of it, and then you won't see the whole picture. So it's better to look at things in a whole, what you would like to happen. You know what you'd like to happen with various different things. Make those statements just knowing that they have a feeling, they are going in there. At some point something's going to give, but you don't know when that will be. But you're just doing it for fun. You're doing it because it can't do any harm. It can't do any harm. It really can't. But if you try and force them when you're resistant with a real sort of forced expectation, then that's when you get disappointed. And who wants to be disappointed? Because then you think, is this stuff real? And you start questioning everything. Does it work for me? Does it work for other people and not work for me? And all of that. And it's better to do any techniques that you're doing when you're in a good feeling state. So get yourself to that state first, and then the other stuff is fine to do. I never say don't do stuff like you must stop manifesting and that's that. I don't like to think of it as manifesting. I guess that's what it is. I just like to look at it as life practice in order to make things easier for me, my life easier, knowing that if a situation is what it is now, it doesn't have to be. I know that I can experience a different situation than the one I'm experiencing now, but I don't know when it will happen. But I do know for sure that if I make some affirmative statements and I'm feeling good about them when I say them, that no harm can come of that. So if you look at it that way, no harm can come of it. I can't do any harm with this. Then I know that the very worst case scenario, no harm can come, but the best case scenario is that something gives and reality changes for me. Okay, I think that's it. So, I mean, really, there's nothing wrong with hope. Don't think, oh, this is the law of attraction, I have to expect. No, you don't have to expect. I've never expected anything. And when people tell me I'm wrong, I think, well, how do you know that I'm wrong? Because you don't know what I've experienced in my life. And I know, I do get the odd comment about, well, you're happily married and all of that, and of course things will come easy to you. Look, I will tell you one thing. I have been married for almost 25 years. Marriage, for some people, maybe they sail through marriage and there's never any issues, but in the majority of marriages, there are issues, and marriage is one massive compromise, I have found. Obviously, you might say to me, well, it shouldn't be, you can manifest it not being a compromise, but I don't mind that. I think life should be a little bit of a compromise. We want to help other people out, don't we? And meet in the middle sometimes, and I don't have a problem with that. But I'm not saying that I have had the perfect 25-year marriage. No, haven't. But I've used all of this. I've worked with all of this stuff. So I'm not telling you, I'm not sitting on my throne saying, oh, you just need to do this. Just telling you what to do without having done it myself. I promise you that I have. What more can I say? Okay, I hope this was useful, and if you haven't subscribed to this channel, I'd love for you to do that. My son has a Law of Attraction channel, that's Harrison Ellis, and that is listed in the description. I write books, they're all listed below. I offer Zoom coaching. I'm really booked up now. I'm pretty much booking the second week in January now. You will be able to book that up online at some point yourself, but at the moment that's not live. There's no point because I'm trying to manage it and I can't sort of let part of that go. There'll be nothing on there, so I will probably only leave 6 weeks on there at a time, so you can book up sort of 6 weeks in advance and no more than that. And I offer email coaching now too, which is 4 weeks, and it's £60 for 4 weeks email coaching support. And what that means is you can email me as much as you like from Monday to Friday over those 4 weeks for £60, and I will answer every single email, no matter how many you send me. There's no limit to it. Although I don't say, right, email coaching starts now and we do an hour of email coaching and then off we go. I can't do it like that. I just don't have time. So this works better for me, and I think it's working really well for you guys. I hope it is for you guys that are doing it, because it's casual and it's cost effective, and you're getting your answers, but you're not having to pay a fortune for it. So anyway, that's that on sales. Thanks for watching, and hope you'll come back again and watch me again.